Hey y'all. So right off the bat, yes, I'm wearing the same thing as in my bookshelf tour. Yep, I'm filming it the same dates because I'm leaving tomorrow to go back home and I have all my books with me, so I figured I needed to record. So today I'm going to be doing my top 14 books of 2014. On my blog, I'm actually going to be ranking all of the books that I read in 2014, so if you're interested in seeing that, I will leave a link down in the description. So as far as my top 14 books of 2014, I'm not including rereads. So, because I reread the Harry Potter series in 2014, and that just wouldn't be a good idea for any of the books on the list to include that because they would be numbers 1 through 7. So anyway, bad idea. But anyway, so these will all be books that I read for the first time in 2014. They're not necessarily books that came out in 2014, but as long as I read them for the first time in 2014, they count. Also, some snippets may be from a different location because today is actually December 16th, so I've got about half of the month left and I plan on doing a lot of reading before the end of the year, so perhaps those 5 or 6 books might end up being in the top 14 of 2014, in which case I'll just record a little talk about them after I read them and just slip it into whichever spot it gets. But I wanted to film the majority of it now while I'm here with my books and I can hold them up and show them to you rather than when I'm at home and I will just have nothing. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and jump into the list, and so don't be weirded out if it randomly is Kristen from the future telling you about some book that I've read since now. Okay, let's get started. Starting off my top 14 of 2014 is City of Lost Souls by Cassandra Clare, the 5th book in the Mortal Instruments series. Now, this is actually probably my personal least favorite in the series, though I don't think that it's the worst book in the series, which really speaks well for the series because my least favorite book in the series is actually on the list. I really love the series. The only reason that I liked this book slightly less than the other books in the series was because my favorite character wasn't really themselves in this book. I don't want to spoil anything, but if you have read the book, you know what I'm talking about. So that was the only thing that made me like this book less. But as I said, it's not the worst in the series at all. It's a really good book. I really liked it. There was just that one little thing that made me really sad throughout, and so it made me not enjoy it quite as much as I would have without that little detail. However, I gave this book 9 out of 10 stars because it is a really good book and I did really enjoy it. Next on my list is 1984 by George Orwell. Surprisingly, I didn't have to read this in high school, but I did have to read Brave New World in high school. And it was one of my favorite books that I read for high school. Actually, it was probably my favorite I read for high school because I didn't really do much of my high school readings. Anyway, but I love dystopian books, and I especially love classic dystopia, and I just really enjoyed this book. I think the world was really cool, and I love the message that Orwell is sending through kind of the ending. It's one of those endings where I hate it plot-wise because of what happens, but I think that the message is really great, and I understand why it had to end like that. So yeah, I gave George Orwell's 1984 9 stars out of 10 as well. Next on my list is Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare, the first book in the Infernal Devices trilogy. Prior to 2014, I had read the first 4 books in the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare, but I had not yet read any books in the Infernal Devices. So this year I read the entire Infernal Devices trilogy and I absolutely loved it. This is my least favorite in the trilogy, but it was still really amazing. I just love all the characters. I obviously love the Shadowhunter world that Cassandra Clare's created. Yeah, I just absolutely love the Infernal Devices, and this just happens to be my least favorite of the trilogy, but it still made the list, so clearly it was really great. And I gave Clockwork Angel 9 out of 10 stars. Next on my list is Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins, the second book in the Hunger Games trilogy. I really enjoyed all of the political strategery that went on in this book. I thought it was really interesting and it really added to the world that Suzanne Collins created. I thought that this was a really interesting book and that there were a lot of twists and turns that I really wasn't expecting. And so it kept me on my toes and I really enjoyed it. So I ended up giving Catching Fire 9.25 stars out of 10. It's a little bit picky with the stars, but I felt like it was somewhere between a 9-star and a 9.5 star. So I gave it 9.25 stars out of 10. Next on my list is A Million Suns by Beth Revis, the second book of the Across the Universe trilogy. It also happens to be my favorite book of the trilogy. I just really love all the stuff that happens in this book. I think that all of the secrets that are found out are really exciting. I love how the world kind of moves forward. I love, like I said, I love the setting of these books. This trilogy has some of the best world building I've seen in young adult books, and it's so interesting and really cool, and I absolutely love the world and the characters in this series. It's just really great. So A Million Suns I gave 9.5 stars out of 10. And if you are a fan of dystopian or of sci-fi or even of mystery, I think that you would really enjoy this trilogy because there are just so many exciting secrets that get unraveled, and it's just really, really interesting, and it keeps you on the edge of your seat constantly. I really love it. I think it's probably one of the best young adult trilogies that I've ever read. And I typically am not a huge fan of trilogies, but I love this one a lot. Next on my list is Clockwork Prince by Cassandra Clare, the second book in the Infernal Devices. I don't really know what else to say about this book because I already talked about how much I absolutely love this trilogy. I would have to say that I like the trilogy more than the Mortal Instruments, even though there are certain characters in the Mortal Instruments I do like better than the Infernal Devices characters. I just really think that the plot is more fast-paced, it's really exciting. I just absolutely love this trilogy, and I love the characters, and I love the character development, and I love the world. I love being in London with all of these amazing characters that Cassandra Clare has created. Yeah, I really love this book. So I gave it 9.5 stars out of 10. So the next book on my list is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. I'm not typically a huge fan of contemporaries. I do read contemporaries and enjoy them, but I'd much rather usually read a fantasy or a dystopian novel. But this one is just so lovable. The characters are so likable and so relatable. I mean, Kath was basically me when I went off to college. I'm a junior now, and I do have a lot of friends in college, but I was just like Kath when I first went to college. I wanted to sit on my laptop all day in my room and just not meet people because I was too nervous to meet new people. But she's just so relatable, especially to young adult readers, because she's basically any young adult reader that goes off to college and is kind of an introvert. So yeah, I love this book. It's just so cute. It's so cute. I stayed up way too late just giggling and keeping my roommate awake because I enjoyed it so much, and I was just laughing the entire time at like 3 in the morning. It's too cute. So I gave Fangirl 9.75 stars out of 10. I got a little too specific here, but I didn't. It was between 9.5 and 10 stars, and so I just split the difference. 9.75 stars out of 10. So next on my list is a book that I really should have read a long time ago, and that is The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I actually saw the movie back in 2012, not too long after it came out, and I really meant to read the book before I saw the movie, but it just didn't happen, and I kind of stayed away from it because of the hype, and I heard not so great things about the third book, but I decided that, you know what, it's finally time to read this book, and I really enjoyed it. It was really great. I wish that I would have read it before seeing the movie because I knew the majority of the plot, even though I haven't seen the movie in quite a while. But overall, I still really enjoyed it, and it was a really great book. So I ended up giving The Hunger Games 9.8 stars out of 10. I think if I had read it before seeing the movie, I would have given it a full 10 out of 10 stars, but I couldn't get the full enjoyment out of it because I kind of already knew it was going to happen. But it was still a really good book. So 9.8 stars out of 10. So the next book on my list was really a pleasant surprise, and that is The Diviners by Libba Bray. I heard a lot of really good things about this on BookTube, but I was somewhat skeptical. I don't really know why. Maybe it was because it was set in the 20s, and I'm not a huge, like, historical fiction fan. But I went into this thinking that I was going to like it, but I didn't expect to, like, fall in love with this book. I really liked the characters, and I thought that the paranormal aspects were really cool. I didn't think it was as creepy as everyone, like, thought it was, but that doesn't really bother me because I just thought it was a really, really good paranormal book, and I am really excited about the sequel that comes out in April. It's probably my second most anticipated read of 2015. I really loved this book, and I don't know what else to say. I thought it was great. So I gave The Diviners 9.8 stars out of 10. Again, I was kind of splitting hairs a little bit, but I thought it was better than like 9.75 because I thought it was better than Fangirl, but it wasn't quite 10 stars. I'm not sure why. It was just missing something to make it 10 stars. I don't know, but it was still an amazing book, and it gets 9.8 stars out of 10. The next book on my list is a pretty well-known and well-loved book, and that is Divergent by Veronica Roth. Yeah, I didn't read it until 2014, and I started reading it, and I read the entire thing in one day, pretty much in one sitting. I got so hooked to this book. I thought that the world was super interesting, and it was so fast-paced and really cool, and I just fell in love with it. This trilogy is also one of the great examples of why I hate trilogies, because as you will have noticed, neither of the other books in this trilogy made it onto the list. And while I liked Insurgent, Allegiant was very disappointing. Not because of the big thing that happens, but I just didn't like it as much, and I thought that this trilogy really went downhill, because Divergent is absolutely amazing, and I was 100% hooked, and I could not put it down. I fell in love with this book. So, needless to say, Divergent got 10 out of 10 stars from me. It was really great. The next book on my list is City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare, which is the 6th and final book of the Mortal Instrument series. What can I say about this book? It's just, I love Cassandra Clare's books. I love the characters that she creates. I love the Shadowhunter world. And she is the queen of writing perfect endings to series and trilogies. I think it was, she's a pro at making the most beautiful, bittersweet ending, but you're still okay with it because it was that good ending. It's just so amazing. And this is another book that I read in one day, even though it's huge, and these are all my little notes of my favorite moments. It was just really, really great. It's not my favorite book in the series. City of Glass still wins that award, but it is really great, and I really loved it, and I thought it was an amazing conclusion to a series that I've loved for many years now. So, yeah. I gave City of Heavenly Fire 10 out of 10 stars, because Cassandra Clare's endings are just the best. Now that we're getting down to the end of my top 14 books of 2014, these last few books are the ones that I just absolutely fell completely head over heels in love with. These last few are the ones that, even though there were a couple other 10 out of 10s, these books were the ones where I was like, whoa, this is amazing, this is life-changing, wow, I love this. So the next book on my list is Ready Player One. This book, I don't even know what to say about this book. I thought that the world was fantastic. I can't even words. It's just, I thought that Oasis was just so insanely cool. I can't even articulate how much I love this book. first of all, I love dystopians, so I was in love with this. I thought that the world was incredible. I thought that the game was incredible. I just loved everything about this book, and I just obsessed over it for so long, and when I finished it, I just wanted to pick up another book that was just like it, and this book is just so unique, and there's really not anything that's like it. So I went into a little bit of a reading slump after reading this because I just couldn't find anything that I was going to enjoy as much as I enjoyed this. It's just incredible. If you like video games, or if you like dystopians, or if you think that you're a little bit nerdy, read this book. Like if you like 80s video games, this book will be like your new favorite thing ever. It's amazing. It's so great. I can't say enough good things about it. 10 out of 10 stars. Love. So the next book on my list is The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. I first saw this book in a book haul that Reagan from Peruse Project did back in January. I don't know when I first watched the book haul, but I rewatched it like at the end of October, and I saw this book in it, and I was just incredibly intrigued. She said fantasy and dystopian in the same sentence, and I went crazy. They're my two favorite genres, and I think that this is just the perfect combination of the two. I thought that the world in this book was fantastic. I know a lot of people thought that this book was really confusing and that the different types of clairvoyance were hard to follow, but I absolutely loved it. I love complex worlds. I love really detailed worlds, and I love really interesting fantasies, and this had all of that. It was just so incredible. I loved the characters. I just fell in love with these characters and this world so quickly. I was incredibly invested in this book by not even very far into it. And I cannot wait to see what's going to happen in the next book. And it comes out in a little bit over a month, and I don't know if I can wait that long. I'm going to have to, but I don't know if I can wait that long because I'm not a patient person, and I just want to know what happens next to these characters that I have fallen in love with. I should have waited until the whole series was out before reading it, because now I'm going to read the second one, and I'm going to want the third one immediately, because this series is going to be amazing. Anyway, yes, 10 out of 10 stars. I loved this book so much. And finally, the book that has reached number 1 on my top 14 of 2014. It shouldn't be a big surprise to you if you've been paying attention so far, but it's so good, and it's Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare, the third and final book in the Infernal Devices trilogy. This book, I read it in one day, in one sitting. I sobbed for at least half of it. It's just so beautiful. I don't think I've ever read a more satisfying conclusion to a series except for Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. This was just the most beautiful conclusion to this trilogy that I could have thought. I would have never been able to think of this beautiful of a conclusion to the series. It was fantastic. The epilogue was one of the best chapters I have ever read in any book ever. I just absolutely loved this book. I love the characters. I even love the love triangle, and I hate love triangles, but I love this love triangle because all 3 of the characters are amazing. And it's just so beautiful and perfect. And I even love the way it ties into the Mortal Instruments series, because that's another of my favorite series. Cassandra Clare, man. Cassandra Clare writes amazing conclusions to series. I've already said that. I said that when I was talking about City of Heavenly Fire. This one's even better. This book is just beautiful. And I loved every second of it. It's great. Obviously, 10 out of 10 stars. So there you go. Those are the top 14 books that I read in 2014. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I do plan on doing a blog post where I rank every single new book that I read in 2014 which currently is sitting at 30 books, but I do plan to read 5 or 6 more by the end of the year, so hopefully there will be 35 or 36 books that I will be ranking. Obviously that excludes rereads, like I said earlier, so Harry Potter will not be on that list because it would just dominate it. Anyway, so yeah, it may be posted by the time this video is up. I'm not sure. If it is already posted, I will leave a link to the specific post down in the description. If not, I will just leave a link to my blog, and I will update that when I do post the entire ranking on my blog. Thank you so much for watching. Tell me in the comments what your favorite books were that you read in 2014. Yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time.